Nobody's ready for us to have to return fucking meal. Fucking mindless consumer. I don't know how I could live with myself if I had everything and gave the man nothing. What a selfish, don't like the language, better the fucking show is unless I fucking swear. I'm Mikey D, and I'm getting sick of this shit product. I'm Mikey D, and this is This Month in Wrestling, February edition. February is an important month in wrestling. It's the time when we find out who's fighting who, what programs we're going to see come April. But if you look on TV, it appears that they have no fucking clue. They're just trying to reach a superfluous pay-per-view. We call it Fastlane. Through all the slip-shot booking, chess pieces moving nonsensically, and pushes out of nowhere, makes me glad that February only has 28 days. So here we go. On to Raw, where McIntyre comes out to review the results of the Rumble because they think we're all morons. And Sheamus comes out and he just kicks his head off. Just skip from A to Z with zero subtlety. So we've got this Elimination Chamber card to fill with 3 weeks, and GM Adam Pearce goes right at it, claiming Drew McIntyre is going to defend his WWE Championship inside the chamber. But then we get Shane McMahon coming down, hogging the glory, applauding like a moron, and we're all wondering, why the fuck is he here? What he's really saying is, you're doing a better job than me. Anyhow, he puts 5 former WWE champions in the chamber with McIntyre. We get Orton, who's lost to McIntyre more times than I can count. Sheamus, who's pissed because he thinks cheap-shotting someone is grounds for a title match, and he's right. There's a pretty bold precedent been set. Jeff Hardy, because he's lost every match since the beginning of the year, somehow this gives you a shot at the championship. The Miz. I know he has the Money in the Bank briefcase, but he's been a joke for over 9 months. And AJ? The only guy with a formidable win-loss record, and he's already lost to McIntyre. The next week, The Miz pulls himself out of the chamber match because, let's be honest, why should I risk major injury when I have an automatic shot? Good point. Would have been good last week. So after a bizarre backstage segment, they create a match between Kofi and The Miz in which Kofi, if he wins, he replaces The Miz, but if The Miz wins, Morrison gets his spot. Guess what? Kofi wins. We're going to Kofi Mania 2. Not. And what happened to Mustafa Ali? Shouldn't he be trying to get that spot? You know, the spot Kofi took from him 2 years ago? Continuity? The reason he formed Retribution? Fuck it. So much for fresh faces. So, after a totally backwards booked feud that saw Riddle win a gauntlet match to get a shot at a guy that he'd already lost to, Lashley snaps and gets DQ'd. The next week, Keith Lee is back, and he's against Riddle. Maybe someone else should get a shot at Lashley. Nothing would please me more than to see these two tectonic plates smash together, but instead Lashley just comes out and beats the shit out of both of them. This just totally backfires because you know what happens when people attack other people. They get title shots. Now it's a triple threat at Elimination Chamber. One thing is true. A force of nature never looked so good, even if it's wearing a raspberry suit. Meanwhile, the Hurt Business has been locked in a place-keeping feud with the Lucha House Party for like God knows forever, and that's not gonna go anywhere. Meanwhile, Damian Priest has made his main roster debut, demolishing everybody. And I mean by everybody, just Angel Garza and Drew Gulak, forming an unlikely friendship with Bad Bunny, and it's having benefits for the Bunny, who wins the 24/7 title. He's had it for 3 weeks already. So, Bad Bunny and the Easter Bunny have won this thing. And at this rate, he's going to drop the title to a Playboy Bunny. Asuka looks like she's on a collision course with Lacey Evans, because Charlotte lost again, giving Lacey the title shot. And I don't like where this is heading. Like heading to Lacey winning the Raw Women's Championship. But 7 days later, Lacey won't allow Charlotte to touch her because she's pregnant. Woo! Woo! I was thinking it was only a matter of time until Charlotte cashes in all those losses for that red belt. But this just looks like a perverse detour on the road to WrestleMania. And where does that leave Asuka for WrestleMania? Where does that leave Asuka for the Chamber? As it appears, nowhere. We always have short-term booking. Nah, fuck it. Next week, Charlotte accidentally kicks Asuka in the face, feigning some kind of match out of this. Let's face it, the only good match that can come out of this. Too bad we've seen it 3 times already. So, Big E continues his positive role. He disposes of Apollo and Sammy in a triple threat match and does an IC title open challenge the next week. Out comes Cruz again. He wants another shot. Big E is very stern in his rebuke. I am done with you. Instead, it's Nakamura, but Apollo can't take no for an answer because black losses don't matter. This thing looks to continue, but with Cruz as a heel, because he just snaps and does a stretcher job on Big E, and after he lays him out with the metal stairs. This push for Apollo is way overdue, and this heel turn is going to freshen him up big time. Think the Raw Elimination Chamber's a cluster? Wait till SmackDown. Adam Pearce, who seems to lose testicular fortitude with every episode, comes out to tell Roman, you're defending your Universal Championship inside the Chamber. With the talent on SmackDown, this had the potential to be the best Chamber match in years, but Roman decides otherwise. He ain't doing that. He tells him, you set up the Chamber match, I'll face the winner on the same night. I'll pick up the bones. God, the audacity of this guy. And Pearce just says, fuck you, Roman, you epic prick. You're not the GM, I am. That's not what happened. Pearce, he takes out a scalpel, he castrates himself, and he places the balls in a mason jar for Paul Heyman to massage. Grow a set, you fucking pussy. He then goes backstage and runs into Sonya Deville, who then tells him what qualification matches to book. While you're at it, excise your cock and give it to Sonya. On second thought, she has no use for it. Just throw it in the trash. We do get a tag match that includes the Dirty Dogs versus Bryan and Cesaro, and the winner gets into the Chamber. Another tag match with the Mysterios against King Corbin and Fidel Castro, and the winner also books a ticket into the demonic structure. How do you win a shot at a singles championship? Win a tag match. You know what that droid would say in The Phantom Menace? That does not compute. The logic of having Dominic Mysterio, who hasn't even busted a nut in a WWE ring, Sami Zayn, who lost continually, Corbin, an insufferable prick, Daniel Bryan, who's done nothing but put guys over since January, and Cesaro, who just re-signed with the company, so you put two together. Along with these guys, Pearce inserts Owens again, who's lost to Reigns 3 times, and Jey Uso, to give the fans the possibility of a Samoan Spike of Doom. In 10 minutes, they took the Notre Dame Cathedral and they burnt it to the ground. What can I say? Roman already has major heat, and this match was sacrificed on the altar of even more heat. Reigns of Terror, baby. I swear Vince just stokes an inferno so he can roast marshmallows on it. Seth Rollins is back, and for some reason the whole roster is out to listen to his narcissistic regurgitative masturbation, and in the end they all just walk out on him, and Rollins has a new catchphrase. Just put it on a t-shirt. Just when I said how bad the Dirty Dogs music was, they made new music. And a bizarre mishmash of the two, and I'll tell you what, it doesn't suck, but the chemistry of Zig and Rude is growing on me. Too bad you sacrificed him in a match better served for different opponents. Whoever said the tag division was dead? Me. We've got Otis, tagged with Gable, in the Alpha Academy. Gable's acting like a prick, ever since they gave him his old name back. I mean, he's an underdog. You shouldn't be acting like this. And another thing, they had Otis win the Money in the Bank briefcase. They split him from his partner. God knows where Tucker is. Probably sitting beside Aleister Black reminiscing about the good old days. Anyhow, they strip him of the case. They start a short singles run that leads nowhere. And because creative has nothing, they put him back in a tag team. Just incompetent. What was the point? Fast forward a week and Otis is acting like a prick too, destroying the combined father and son duo of Rey and Dominic Mysterio. Speaking of incompetent, Billie Kay has started a third wheel romance with the Riot Squad. She's cost them a match every single week. I mean, if I were Ruby, I'd shove those headshots up her ass. Speaking of ass, Nia Jax hurt her ass by missing a leg drop onto the apron and sent the Twitter world into a frenzied orgy with hashtag #OhMyHole. She screamed, "Oh my butt, oh my hole" on live TV. You can't write this material. And apparently, they can't do follow-up because not only did they spend 10 weeks putting Lana through tables, and then inexplicably, out of the blue, they put Lana against Jax in a table match with zero build-up in the third hour of a show. The bad luck continues because not only did Jax lose the tables match, Vince replayed the ass segment for his own twisted amusement. On top of that, Baszler lost to Naomi because we have no other process for determining number one contenders except for beating the champs clean on television. Edge has been around, showing up on TV more than Charlotte Flair, dropping no subtle hints about going after even the NXT Championship. But we know only one match makes sense. So, Judgment Day comes, and believe me, it's not as good as Vengeance Day. An NXT takeover stacked with great in-ring work and excellent booking. We get Daniel Bryan coming out as the winner of the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match, with the real star being Cesaro. I guess he's not ready for one bloody world title match. Come on, Vince. Then Bryan has to face Roman right away, and predictably, he loses. Edge shows up, spears him, points at the WrestleMania sign. Jax and Baszler put their tag titles on the line against Bianca and Sasha for some reason. I mean, when it was Lana and Naomi who deserved the shot. Plus, they have to defend against the winners of this Women's Dusty tournament. I mean, what a cluster of booking this is. And I guess they wanted to give some pay-per-view time to build up that rivalry, but holy shit. Well, they lose and zero conflict ensues. At least Nia didn't rupture a hemorrhoid this time. So, on to the US title match, where Lee has been pulled from the match, supposedly due to injury. How do we fix this? Yeah, it's a fatal four-way. It's Morrison, Ali, Ricochet, and Elias. Morrison wins, so he can take the pin in the three-way. Matt Riddle, with the help of a crutch, comes out on top of a triple threat match and wins the US title. And after we see MVP backstage with The Miz, the direction of this company begins to elucidate. And the Raw Elimination Chamber was just a boring slog, with McIntyre retaining his championship. But don't change the channel yet. Out comes Lashley, who lays waste to McIntyre, setting the table for The Miz to come out and cash in the Money in the Bank contract and win the WWE Championship. What the fuck? Take a breath. 1 week to go. The Miz, he does what he does best, and he brags, and he's annoying, trying to avoid his fate. But in the end, he must face Lashley for the WWE Championship next week. If this title reign lasts until Fastlane, this company has jumped a megalodon shark. Strowman comes out because, just because he's being Strowman, and he wants to be illiterate, he comes out and he challenges Lashley to get into that match, but he loses anyway. Okay, Orton, He's vomiting black tar. This Fiend thing is gonna go cinematic. It's only a matter of time. And why is Jackson Riker Elias's roadie? Come to think of it, he's lucky Vince is a Republican, otherwise he would have been cancelled for making a tweet supporting Trump. Actually, to come to think of it, the minute he did that, his Forgotten Sons faction immediately disappeared, and he was rebranded. The other two, Jesus, they were with Corbyn for a few weeks and now they're gone too. Funny how that happens. So, after a 5-minute push, Ricochet, hey, he's back to losing valiantly. So much for the best high flyer in this company, Sheamus. I have no idea what they're doing with him. He ended a 20-year friendship and kicked McIntyre in the face because he wanted the WWE title, only to be thrown into an elimination chamber with 4 other guys, then loses. And then in another match, they blow off the feud on TV a week later. I heard they had some Hollywood writers on the team. No wonder the movies suck these days. You guys suck. If this is a WrestleMania matchup, talk about blowing your load way too early. They're pushing Tamina again. Can't figure out why, but now she's with Natalya. And they're apparently so dominant. I don't remember them winning a single match. Sommelier Reginald left Carmella in catering, and he's the superfluous third wheel in this brewing Sasha-Bianca Belair feud. What is this guy doing there? Kind of like a bicycle wheel on a dump truck. Still missing. Attention, still missing. Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Humberto Carrillo, Kalisto, Tucker Knight, Eric of the Viking Raider Experience, and Dabba-Kato. Remember him? I think I should call the police. They should have been declared dead by now. And why does Sonya Deville have any authority? Tell her to go back to sucking in the ring. And there we are. February in a nutshell. It's over. Can you believe it? 28 days. And before we go, a shout out to Jesuiti22. My first ever shout out. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the feedback on this show. I mean, as for the rest of you, the other 12 people, what's your excuse? Any feedback would be great, like, your show sucks hard, or I don't like your face, or I hate your suit, the set sucks, I loathe the persistent low video quality, insert homophobic insult here. Come on! The quality of the content is inversely proportional to the low-fi presentation, so suck it! Smash that button or do whatever you do in your mom's basement. Some days I get in a self-destructive loop and I think, fuck this podcast. I've got muscleheads, egomaniacs, and basement dwellers with 500 times the subscribers. I'm making less traction than Nia Jax's lower intestine. But it could be worse. You could be Vince right now. The Wednesday Night War is over. NXT concedes defeat and crawls unopposed to Tuesday night. You know how this is going to be spun? I'll spin it this way. I'm just a security guard. I just observe and report. So until next month, when you're still trying to figure out why we have 2 tag divisions, 2 women's titles, no WWE title contender, why you're signing everybody but using half of them, why you rip up your script and start over 30 minutes before airtime and it still sucks. Time to look in the mirror. You suck. So, if the Biden administration decides they want to get back to the status quo and start spreading democracy in an incendiary fashion all over Hell's Half Acre, remember, when the smoke clears, WWE is gonna still be an essential business, and all that's gonna be left is Betty White, Keith Richards, cockroaches, and me, Mike A.D.